Everyone's talking Ordinals. Yeah. I had a hot discussion with Rob Hamilton today.
I heard.
Lucky there was a table between us. Got a bit feisty.
I heard you were an ass.
No, I was factual.
So
should we explain what Ordinals are to everyone in the room?
Yeah, sure. So Ordinals, as I understand them, and I guess Rob is here so he can correct me if I'm wrong, but Ordinals are basically inscriptions, pictures that you put that are permanently in the blockchain, and they're contained in the signature header, I believe, or in the header of, Rob says kind of, but they're in the signature section, so they're permanent. But they're prunable, and there's a lot of controversy because a lot of people think that this is, blockchain bloat, and that this is not what Bitcoin's for. I think you might be one of them.
I'm. If you say one side is completely against it, one side is completely for it, go to the center ground. I'm just to the left. I'm just kind of against it.
Why are you against it?
I think what it is that the more I've done this show, the more I've made the show, it's been about how if we're trying to create the best form of money, if the goal is let's create the best money. And as I go around and do podcasts and films and meet people, I always say we're trying to make the best form of money. I was asking myself, does this make Bitcoin better money, net better or net worse? And I think I just come out on net worse.
Yeah. I think it makes it, I think it does nothing. I think this is a Beanie Baby. I think it's a point in time.
By the way, how many Beanie Babies do you own?
I have a lot of Beanie Babies. I'm a Beanie Baby collector. I collect them for the reason that for the same, there's actually a Financial Times article about my Beanie Baby collection.
This is a true story.
I've been collecting Beanie Babies for a really long time. I was back in the 90s as a kid. I was like making my dad run around and to get the teeny beanies and everything else. But for me, Beanie Babies are an important reminder, particularly about collectibles, that you don't become attached to things. I remember back in the 90s, I would watch these people go buy Beanie Babies, and they would tell me like Humphrey the Camel is going to pay for your college someday. They'd say this to their like husbands or their wives. Like, that's why I'm collecting all these. And, they didn't. So after, and now I have this little blog I run. It's a Beanie Baby blog, and I get emails probably 3 to 5 a day of people sending me pictures of their collections and asking me how much they're worth. And the answer every time is $5 to all of them. And I'm not kidding. They have stored these things for 40 years, for 20 some years, 25, maybe 30 years. And they have these 3 by 4 plastic bins. They'll have like 10 of them filled with the same Beanie Baby. And it's like every day, 3 to 5 of these emails. So Beanie Babies for me are this kind of important reminder that you don't stay attached to things. And for me, like, it's been an important lesson, particularly as like a lot of this NFT stuff has happened and now Ordinals have happened. I think a lot of people look at Ordinals. There's people making money on this. They're selling these Satoshis at a premium, and they're making money selling these Satoshis. And like, I think there's a lot of FOMO. It's easy in the space to get excited and feel like you're missing out. But I look at this stuff and I'm like, I've seen this before. This is just Beanie Babies. It's temporary, might last 5 years, might be 10 years, doesn't matter. Ordinals to me aren't important, and they're just a blip. And I also think it's a really good thing because Bitcoin is supposed to be an anti-fragile system. And if Ordinals are bad, then this doesn't work. If Ordinals break Bitcoin, Bitcoin is broken.
The thing I push back against that is I think Ordinals came by mistake.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like if you find a hole in Bitcoin, I think as a good Bitcoiner, it's your obligation to exploit it. Stick your finger in it and like wiggle it around.
Maybe fix it.
It's up to someone else to fix. You don't know what the fix is. Like, here's the thing. There's no specific fix, right? Like, you think about the fixes to Ordinals. We can fork. That's a terrible option. What do we like? Reduce the chain size? I don't know. Like maybe add some opcodes and allow drive chain or something like that. I don't know. Like, what's the fix? And the only way that we'll know is by fighting it out in the community. So it has to be a public battle. And not just that, like, it could very well be that people are going to dedicate themselves to the fight for or against Ordinals. And what we find out is that the fees, and maybe the next bull run or whatever the hell it is, that the fees start taking care of it. Like, these things are going to be very expensive to mint in a world where people are using the chain.
Let's have a show of hands. Who likes Ordinals?
Gays.
Come on. Who thinks they make Bitcoin better money? There's not a single person. I think they're too embarrassed to say.
Well, who thinks they make Bitcoin worse money? Oh, Okay, 2.
So people just don't want to put their hands up.
I just think it's
Who doesn't like putting their hands up?
When I watch this, who's neutral on ordinals? There you go.
Yeah.
I think that's the right position. Like I think neutrality on this is just sit in the middle and just watch it happen. Like there's a lot of things in Bitcoin that I've watched over the years that have like been big fights. Way back in the day, Counterparty XCP was a big one. Colored coins. Luke Dash Jr. putting the Eligius prayer in the blockchain many years ago. Go look at those discussions in Bitcoin Forum. People were really, really mad. I put Genesis 1 in the blockchain many years ago for like, lots of people have done this. You can write messages on Bitcoin. It's been for years. You've been able to do this
try
stuff.
and break it.
Well, Bitcoin is there to break. Try to break it. I dare you. This is what everyone tells, like I talk about like the regulation of New York. People come up to me like, oh, New York's about to regulate Bitcoin. They're not going to let miners in. I'm like, okay, great. There's never been a better time for governments to regulate Bitcoin than now. Try it. Go ahead. Let's see what happens. If Bitcoin breaks because of regulation, if Bitcoin breaks because of ordinals, if Bitcoin breaks because Luke Dash Jr. puts a prayer on it, if it breaks because XCP does whatever, like if it breaks because of these, this doesn't work. It's not an anti-fragile system. Either this is money or it's not. And if it's like a precious little baby, then it doesn't work. There's no other chain that's tested. And that's the thing, like this is why like, Bitcoin maximalism for me is sort of a bit of a sacred cow because no other chain has been tested or will be tested to the degree that Bitcoin is and has been. And there's absolutely no other chain that can withstand the scrutiny of Bitcoin.
Goes back to what Harry Suddick says.
Everything's good for Bitcoin.
Everything's good for Bitcoin.
Everything's good for Bitcoin. He's right.
Apart from Bitcoin dying.
Well, if Bitcoin dies, it's good for us. We should know. A lot of us have dedicated a large portion of our time to caring about this, and it's stupid to care about. It's cash money, right? Like this year, we're in a bar. We're at PubKey. Shout out to PubKey. And this is a bar dedicated to cash money. We call it Bitcoin, but that's kind of stupid. Like, you ever been to a bar like, hey, we're like really into cash money, bro? Like this is really like that's what we're into. This is like that's what Bitcoin is. And the reason that it's kind of like we're all into it is because like no one else thinks it's cash money but us. Like we all know the secret. This is cash money. It's great. So like we come here together, we high five each other about how we know it's cash money. Well, when Bitcoin is like, if there's a world in which Bitcoin is treated as cash money by everybody, if everybody understands that, this is kind of gay. And I mean that in the pejorative sense. Like we're all like we're gonna go to PubKey like yeah Bitcoin no we're just gonna be like this is what I buy and pay my taxes with and stuff. And like if that's what we do, that's what we do. But if not, then this is a subculture right now, and it's a subculture because we are touching this dirty stuff. It is dirty. It's money.
It's
Money's
definitely a
always been dirty
subculture.
at the moment.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work if it remains a subculture. Like I think everyone here is hoping that Bitcoin someday is not a subculture.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can make plenty of solid arguments that the tentacles are kind of stretching out beyond being a subculture.
I think it has to, right? If this works, it has to. And that's, and I don't really care how it comes in. Like ordinals are really interesting because if you look at the way that the community has responded, we have a bunch of these new people coming in. Previous to this, they were in beep coins and, they were in shit coins. They were in Ethereum.
You can say shit.
I know that. I just want to. We don't swear on this podcast. They were into shit coins. They were on Ethereum or whatever. They were doing their NFT stuff. I know a couple guys that are like doing the ordinal stuff. They're shilling them. They're selling them. They're car salesmen. They're like, they got the clubhouse. We were sitting there the other day. Someone described it like one of these guys like has a trench coat. He opens up like, want an ordinal? So like these guys are all doing the. They're shilling their ordinals, and these Ethereum guys are coming here. They're buying them, and I've heard that a lot of them are like sitting in the background, being like, "Yeah, we're gonna dump these on these dumb Bitcoiners at some point." And all the Bitcoiners are like, "Welcome to Bitcoin. We're not buying that shit, but like, welcome. We're glad you're here." And what these Ethereum guys are doing is they're now being tricked into like running full nodes. They're running full nodes. They're running full nodes. They're supporting the network. They're buying Bitcoin. Literally, they're paying more money for a Satoshi than a Satoshi is worth. Like you can sell a Satoshi for like 100 Satoshis, like weird.
Yeah, but that's no different. People collecting dollar bills with serial numbers on them.
Yeah, well, but isn't that weird that we have like numismatism in Bitcoin?
Yeah, but hold on, you collected Beanie Babies.
Yeah,
everyone has a thing they collect.
Yeah, but I collected them after they were popular. So that's like that. Like that's what you want to do. Like if you want to buy ordinals, if you want to buy a sub 10,000 ordinal or a sub 500 ordinal, wait 20 years. Do what I did, and then like they'll be worth nothing. But this is a weird moment in Bitcoin's history because what we're seeing now is fees on the blockchain are going up. We've always known that fees have to go up. We don't know how. The drive chain guys think that drive chain is going to drive fees up and we need to have merge mining. Maybe they're right. Other people have other solutions. Other people don't care. They're neutral on it. I tend to be, with regard to fees, the way that I am with everything in Bitcoin. And I think there are more things in heaven and earth than even you can conceive of. Horatio, is that the famous quote? I have that attitude towards Bitcoin. There are all these problems that we have in Bitcoin. There are all sorts of them, thousands and thousands of problems, whether it's fees, whether it's the construction of transactions, or whatever the heck it is, the speed of downloading the chain. So many problems. And the solution is not the one that you've conceived of. There are a lot of, if you've conceived of it, so has someone smarter than you. And there's a lot of people smarter than you. I don't know who you are. Maybe you're Albert Einstein. Maybe I'm wrong. But for 99% of us, there are a lot of people who are smarter than us, and they've already conceived of this. So the solutions are not going to be simple, because even the smartest people here don't know them. And we complain about something like fees. It seems like the solution might be, I don't know, drive chain where you have merge mine, or the solution might be changing the way that the transaction, requiring that a normal transaction have higher fees or something like that. Whatever the case is, you might have 1,000 solutions. Or a standard transaction might have higher fees, something like that. So maybe those are the solutions, but who in this room thought that maybe the solution was allowing us to put a picture of dick butt on the blockchain?
50 Bitcoin for that dick butt.
I know that. And American Hodl's here, actually, in the audience. He was offered that dick butt for 1 Bitcoin, and he refused to buy it. So he feels stupid. I'm putting him on blast.
But I tell you, one of the things that I did find interesting was when Rob earlier was explaining to me that there is a big difference between NFTs on Bitcoin than on Ethereum, in that the NFT is literally, the JPEG is on chain, whereas it's just a hash on something like Ethereum pointing to a database record. So do you think this will actually steal market share away from these?
I don't care. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. I mean, it doesn't matter where they are. There are actually on-chain algorithmic NFTs on Ethereum. Who gives two farts? The rocks, they are algorithmic, they're random, they're inscribed on chain on Ethereum. Fine, okay. Well, okay, so now you have this stuff. People keep telling me about all the great uses of ordinals. I can inscribe JavaScript code on ordinal, or in an ordinal on Bitcoin, and then you can own the Satoshi. And I'm okay. So if I have the Satoshi, then I'll own the JavaScript, it'll be mine. Well, no, I have the Satoshi with the transaction that anyone can see it. It's on the goddamn blockchain. This is stupid. I can go download the dick butt. But for some reason, if Hodl had bought the Satoshi that is associated with the dick butt, then someone will pay 50 Bitcoins for it. It's stupid. This isn't going to last forever. It's a temporary moment in Bitcoin's history. And I don't know if it's the time, the amount of wars that I've sat through in Bitcoin, the fights I've watched, but I just can't give two wits about it. This is going to be so short-lived. Even if it's 5 years from now, this is a moment in Bitcoin's history. People are just excited that they found a way to do something with Bitcoin that we didn't think you could do. But you could always do some weird stuff. If you wanted to pay enough, you could have encoded images into P2SH transactions or anything else. It would have been $100,000. It just would have been really expensive. You want to put all the Bitcoin Uncensored episodes on Bitcoin, you could do it. It would take you a few years, probably, in different transactions, and you'd have to fill up entire blocks, and it would just be very, very expensive. But because of the way that we've done the SegWit discount, the ordinals are cheap, and it's a moment in history.
An irrelevant moment in history.
An irrelevant, irreverent, hilarious moment that has created the funniest political factions I've ever seen. Should we or should we not put dicks on the blockchain? That's the question. And this is a commons, and commons are made for putting dicks on. Rome knew it. We know it. I said this on Bitcoin Uncensored. This is what a commons is. I said on Bitcoin Uncensored many years ago, and you can go back and listen if you can find the episodes, which are hard to find. They're collectibles. I said, a blockchain is a commons, and the goal of a commons, the commons that will be the best commons, the one that you will bring your sheep to feed on the grass of, will be the one that manages how many dicks are on their blockchain. And like Ethereum, full of dicks. There are dicks everywhere on Ethereum. Bitcoin's getting some dicks now, but like it's a temporary moment in history, and like Bitcoin has the best dick management, and that's why this blockchain matters.
I love that there's people in the bar just having
Thanks
a drink.
for coming,
listening to
everybody.
this.
Rich, you're so proud of me right now, aren't you?
But it is a commons, and like that is like the thing is, commons are for the lowest common denominator, which means it is for the dicks.
Do you think,
that's where it goes. It has to go there.
Do you think part of this is a period where nothing really much has happened?
We're bored. Yeah, Bitcoiners are bored. This is graffiti.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like graffiti. Like some graffiti is art and some is dick butts. But like, no, it is. Bitcoiners are bored right now. There's nothing happening. The price is stagnant. When this is like the idle hands of the devil's playground. Leave a bunch of techno nerds who have infinite amounts of time, who probably have more money than they should because they've been holding Bitcoin for too long, and you give them time and like a platform that they can do anything they want on, you get dick butts on the blockchain. That's just the way it works. Like every time that like Bitcoin's bear markets are for building. Some things are very relevant, and like there may be things that ordinals are good for. I don't know. There might be. Probably not. Maybe it's more than JPEGs. Like I'm happy that the technology is there, that people can explore and try things. Maybe we see inscriptions of, I don't know, like anchor links for torrents, but you could do that in op return. There's all sorts of ways. Like you could there are ways to have written things on Bitcoin before. This is the first time that anyone seems to have been excited about it. I don't know why, but this is just a period. And yeah, you're right. It is because we're bored.
But do you think, therefore, there are other things we could or should be working on?
Well, Casey did the ordinal stuff, and Casey decided to spend his time doing that, right? Like this is an anarchic kind of weird place, and every developer gets to spend their time doing the thing they want. And if pictures on the blockchain are a thing that one developer thinks are important, and like, honestly, it's probably important for the reason that I think no one had realized that this might be the effects of the SegWit discount. And in Bitcoin, like irony is important, particularly when attacking the chain in a sense. When you do something that people will disagree with or think of as like a problem, it's very important to do it with irony. I think images are a good way for this to have happened. What other sorts of attacks could this cheap block space have caused? What developers saw it? Luke Dash Jr. saw this. He's been advocating for smaller blocks for a long time. Doesn't mean you couldn't put images on the chain, but it would mean that ordinals would be much more expensive to put on the chain.
Has he blocked ordinals on knots?
I would imagine so, but I don't know.
He's got some kind of filter that he's been trying to get people to deploy in their nodes to prune the space. It's interesting because it brings up other discussions, stuff that we've already discussed, stuff that like we discussed on Bitcoin Uncensored, but also like other people have discussed. Like Bitcoin, one of the features of Bitcoin is its immutability. This is a thing that like we've talked about. Bitcoin is this thing that it moves forward, can't really move back. You can't unglue things from it. Once it's in there permanently. That's the idea. This is probabilistically true. It's not definitely true, but it's more than likely true, right? To the 12 nines. So Bitcoin is impossible to unwind. It's immutable. Well, certain parts of it are. What if everybody pruned these parts of the transaction thread? What if everybody did? What if everyone pruned op return? Like there are elements of the blockchain that are maybe less mutable, that are more immutable than other parts, which I think is another interesting discussion and one that's worth having. Meanwhile, like all of these people that are into ordinals, again, are running completely full nodes. And that to me is interesting, that there may have been 10,000 new nodes added or maybe 20,000 new nodes added in the last 2 weeks. And like that just strengthens Bitcoin.